Hey, algebra student, I want to show you how algebra can make word problems simpler. Let's take a look. It says the area of a square with a side length s is given by the equation a equals s squared. Okay, that's some interesting information. But what am I supposed to do with it? Let's keep reading. Evaluate the equation. Evaluate the equation. There's the directions. They're telling me to do something. To determine the area, we're figuring out the area in square inches of a square with a side length of 5/4 inches. Now, a lot of students, when they see this formula here or this equation, they see these letters, they think, oh no, word problems just got harder. But actually, word problem just got easier because they're telling you how to solve this problem. They're telling you what to do. Only thing is, they're telling it to you in our language, the language of algebra, instead of your language. And turns out algebra is more straightforward a lot of times than English. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this down. A equals s squared. And think about what this means. It says the area is, or to find area, take s and square it. Now you might say, well, what's s? Well, I told you in the problem. Notice I said with a side length, s. S is the side length of the square. And more good news, the side length of the square is not a mystery. They told it to us in this problem. Look, they said with a side length of 5/4 inches. So we know what s is. Whenever you know what s is or know what a letter is, you can substitute. You can trade it out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to trade s out, I know what it is, for 5/4. Now, anything else I have going on, I should copy down. And I'm going to go ahead and copy down the A. A is, I'm going to speak in complete math sentences. So the area is. Now, I still need to drop down the square. Really, really good habit is when you're raising anything that's complex, anything that's not just a single number to a power, just go ahead and use parentheses. So what I'm saying though, you might say 5/4 is a single number. It is, but it's also 5 divided by 4, as you know. So that's what I mean by complex. We're just going to go ahead and put the whole thing in parentheses just so we're really clear that that whole fraction is being squared, not just a part of it. All right. So now you might say, well, Kate, you promised this was going to get simpler, and now I have to square a fraction, and you're a jerk. So two things. You can totally do that in your TI. Okay, your TI can do the open parentheses, N over D button to get the fraction, type of 5, type of 4, arrow out of the fraction with that big gray button up at the top right, and then parentheses and the x squared button to square it. Okay, go back and review the calculator videos if you need help with that. But I'm going to do it by hand because they like to do exponents with fractions in the non-calculator section, so we might as well flex our muscles there. So I think I'll rewrite this in expanded form in order to better understand it. So what does 5/4 to the second power mean? Well, it means the same as the number 5/4 multiplying with itself, 5/4. Now again, don't panic at the sight of fractions. Fractions are actually really easy to multiply. They're tricky to add and subtract, but they're easy to multiply because I'm just scaling here. So it's nice. I can multiply straight across the top. 5 times 5 is 25. And straight across the bottom, 4 times 4 is 16. Now this answer is technically correct. The area of this square is 25/16. There's nothing wrong with this answer. It's totally true. If I were typing my answers in to a fill in the blank kind of question, this would be a right answer. However, they're not likely to make this one a fill in the blank question just because they're not trying to, confuse you on the GED about how they want you to type in fractions. So they're more likely to make this as a multiple choice. And if they make it as a multiple choice, they will probably not have the answer in this form. Usually in geometry, we prefer what we call mixed numbers. Okay, so when this fraction, you see how the 25 is bigger than the 16? We have more than 16 pieces, so we have more than one whole thing. So we could express this as a mixed number, a whole and a part. Yeah, so whole number, big number, then with the fraction, numerator over denominator. That's a mixed number. Or as a decimal. Now, once again, you might be like, Kate, I don't know how to do the conversions. Well, once again, you can use the convert buttons in your calculator. Okay, so you may go back again to Unit 0, look at those conversion videos if you've forgotten that. But I am going to do it by hand, okay, because I know that a fraction bar means the same as divide. So I am going to do, let's see, 25 divided by 16. How many times does 16 go into 25? It goes in once, so I have one whole thing. And there's some remainder, right? 25 minus 16 gives me 9. So I have a remainder of 9 still being divided by 16 that I'm too lazy to divide by 16. So there you go, 1 and 9/16, and this is area, so it's going to be in a square unit, so it's going to be a square inch. Okay, and again, the fraction parts are not the important parts here, okay? You can feel free to do all that in your calculator. But the important part here, you don't panic at the sight of the letters. You don't panic at the sight of the fractions. And then this one is the hardest for newbie students. You don't panic when your answer doesn't look like their answer. Doesn't mean you're wrong. It might mean that your answer is just in the wrong form. I shouldn't even say wrong form. It's just in an alternate form, a different form than they chose to use. Okay, so just convert yours and stop worrying about right and wrong. They're both true. It's just that's the form they chose to use. All right, and then you might say, well, what about doing it in a decimal form? What if it asks for a decimal form? Well, again, if you remember that a fraction means the same as divide, it's really easy to do 25 divided by 16 in your calculator. When you use the divide by symbol instead of the fraction bar, your calculator goes, oh, the way I usually express an answer when we're dividing by is in decimal form. And so it will give it to you in decimal form. And let's see, I get the area is equal to 1.5625 square inches. I don't really like that long, ugly decimal, but it's true too. But I imagine that if it were on the GED, it'd most likely be multiple choice with mixed numbers as the answer. That's the most normal answer here, even though it's not more right than the other answers. All right. Nice job. Don't panic. We can do this.